But it really makes you angry when you read about, say FTX that collected billions and billions of dollars but never bought the Bitcoin, actually. So why is this a problem? If FTX stole billions of dollars in a BlockFi and Voyager and Three Arrows and Celsius and Terra Luna, if all of those ecosystems basically collected people's money and then lost all the money, then people that legitimately wanted to own Bitcoin had their money stolen from them.
Hey guys, welcome back to Library of Wealth. Today we have the latest interview with Michael Saylor, giving us an update on the collapse of FTX, as well as new information on the inside dealings that went on behind the scenes. Saylor will also discuss the crypto market and how the fraud inside FTX is causing investors to panic. He discusses how SBF was using customer funds to make moves politically and financially, and how eventually the worthless tokens and counterfeit money caught up to him. Saylor also discusses Bitcoin and what other digital assets are going to be affected by the recent crash. Let's get right into the latest interview with Michael Saylor. If you enjoy the content we do here, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's get right into the video.
More casual Bitcoiners that maybe they bought the Bitcoin and deposited in Celsius to get some yield, and now they lost their Bitcoin. And I think that that's tragedy. I mean, it's bad for them, right? It's awful for anyone who had their money stolen from them. And it's not good for Bitcoin because billions and billions of dollars of Bitcoin was stolen and / destroyed, right? I send you $20 billion to buy Bitcoin, you take the Bitcoin, you steal the money, and the Bitcoin doesn't get bought, right? Or I send you 20 billion worth of Bitcoin, and then you loan it out to someone that invested in Terra Luna, and Terra Luna goes to zero, and then the Bitcoin never comes back, And so what happened? They converted the Bitcoin into Terra Luna, or converted the Bitcoin into FTT or the equivalent, and then that went to zero, right? So that kind of makes you mad. Mm-hmm. It's somewhat tragic, it's irritating, tragic. It's not the finest moment for the crypto industry. And you would say you probably shouldn't have trusted any of these people, but there are a lot of decent people that did trust them, right? You got a lot of crypto influencers, a lot of Bitcoin influencers, and they were sponsored by Blockfolio and FTX and Celsius and some of the other players in the space. If you were sponsored by Voyager or BlockFi or FTX, and then someone decided to use one of those, then they've suffered. I think the Gemini Earn product, right, where people actually bought Bitcoin through Gemini and then they transfer it to Genesis, and Genesis generates yield by maybe loaning it out to Three Arrows, and Three Arrows loses it and Genesis can't pay you back. And that's a low point in the industry. It's a growing pain. It's a brutally expensive market lesson, but it just reminds you of the corrupting influence of the industry. There are so many people that are counterfeiting money, or they're just stealing the money. And the advantage is to the counterfeiters, right? I think FTX invested $5.6 billion in FTX Ventures. They must have spent another $2 billion in marketing or more in the 2 years. So they poured about $7.5 billion into the economy, and they did it by, in essence, counterfeiting $10 billion or more worth of tokens like FTT and SRM. And then they went and they borrowed real money. They borrowed as much as they could, posting that collateral from counterparties that, they borrowed from BlockFi and, borrowed from Voyager and probably borrowed from Three Arrows, or they borrowed from anybody that would have made a loan to them. And then they borrowed from their own depositors at FTX. And of course, they then raised billions of dollars from outside investors. And they took all that money and they in essence corrupted everybody they could, right? So you give $45 million to Block, right? $45 million to a handful of journalists. What could go wrong? $15 million to one influencer who will remain nameless that everybody knows. and then you give it to every politician on both sides of the aisle. And I think it'll be probably 3 to 5 years before we know the extent of that corrupt money. But I don't think that there are many people that weren't tainted. They went to pretty much every crypto influencer, every journalist, every politician, every entrepreneur, everybody every educator, everyone that would take their money, every celebrity, right? So, just about anybody that would take their money, they went to them. And, if you read the FTX Ventures spreadsheet, it's like 8 pages long, and they invested something in hundreds of things, right? Hundreds, it's hard to figure out who in the industry didn't end up with some of that money. So the counterfeiters have an advantage in the war over the sound money people, right? Nobody's taking $7.5 billion of Bitcoin and using it to taint politicians and taint the media, because it's $7.5 real dollars, right? It's hard to come by that money. But if you just gin up $7.5 billion worth of, FTT token, right? That's made up money. I mean, Sam pretty much created that money in 12 months, maybe 18 months max. In order to create another $1 billion, he just needed to manipulate the price up $3 a token. How hard is that? Not hard at all. He basically took the money from his own customers off the exchange, traded it with himself, manipulated the price up $3, declared $1 billion worth of earnings, and then went and spent it. And how he spent it, he bought everybody. I guess the positive is we got lucky that FTX blew up, because they were very close to bribing, or corrupting the entire establishment, right? We'll see just how far they got, but I mean, some of the bills in Congress, they were driving to get light regulation in DC and then funnel crypto exchange fees into the regulators in order to addict them to more counterfeit crypto money. So I think it's been a brutally painful year, one of the more difficult years.
Because so much money was funneled through influencers, celebrities, politicians, and government, it adds that much more insult to the people whose money was taken. With Sam Bankman-Fried, there appeared to be an image of a wealthy CEO, but was propped up on opaque companies and inflated assets that only carried the appearance of value. Both of his companies are now bankrupt with billions of dollars worth of debt on the books. Bankman-Fried admitted he had a bad month, but denied committing fraud at his crypto exchange. The collapse of FTX blindsided investors, customers, venture capitalists, and Wall Street alike. What do you think about Michael Saylor's latest interview on the crash of FTX, and how Bitcoin and the crypto market will be affected? Comment down below. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Library of Wealth. We'll see you in the next video.